Hello everyone, this is part 10 of What If Naruto Learned the Secret of Shadow Clone, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
A new day was dawning on Konohakage. The market was beginning to open up, civilians were rising and preparing themselves while ninja young and old were either coming home for rest or readying themselves for missions. In one particular apartment, however, it was as if a bomb had gone off. Naruto's home looked as if someone had the wildest party the previous night, which it sort of had. Naruto had never entertained people in his apartment before and suddenly stuck with not just 2 but 4 women, he kind of overdid it. And as he groggily came back to the land of the conscious, he frowned as he recognized a particular perverted giggle. Trying and failing to move for some reason, he could only turn to find his mentor at the window with his little book in his hand. Jiraiya had a slight nosebleed as he wrote page after page of notes. Naruto was stuck on the couch, Hinata laying against him on one side while Ino took the other. Both apparently were cuddlers, hanging tightly onto his arms in their sleep. Hinata was quiet at least, but the blonde Yamanaka was snoring up a storm and drooling on the poor boy's shoulder. Across the room against the wall was some short redhead who at some point got a hold of Kubikiri Boko and was cuddling it in her sleep with a light blush on her face. That would be something to explore for sure. Not far from her in the center of the floor was another duller redhead, limbs spread everywhere and dressed in only a sports bra and biker shorts. Oh yes, this could be good. Little Naruto builds a harem. The girls fight over the hierarchy, things get spicy, special weapons are involved. Giggling increasing, he missed Naruto replace himself with a clone so he wouldn't wake the girls. He didn't, however, miss the boy tackling him out the window. Both men ending up across the street. Naruto had his hands on his hips while he frowned at the older man. Gee, pervy sage, nice to see you haven't changed. Chuckling and putting his book away, the sage leaned down a bit. Oh, come on, Naruto, even you gotta admit that was good material. The inspiration. Blushing, the boy turned away. They better not end up in your books. I won't have to get to you, they'll tear you apart. Waving a carefree hand to dismiss the concern, Jiraiya took in the fact that Naruto was still upset and it likely had nothing to do with this morning. What's up, shorty? ? Best to address it right away. He had been gone for a few days after all, and he probably had missed something important. You've been gone. Blunt and to the point, Naruto was upset that just after Jiraiya learned about how shitty things had been, it felt like he had been abandoned by the elder ninja again. Sighing, Jiraiya sat on the ledge of the building they were on. Pull up a seat, kid, I've got some news for ya. Naruto did so, sitting on top of an air conditioning unit. Funny, so do I. Pulling out a scroll, Jiraiya tossed it to Naruto. To make it simple, you're being hunted by an organization for that demon in your gut. I don't have concrete numbers yet, but all the members wear black cloaks with red clouds. Naruto nodded. So Itachi and the Kisame guy? Yeah, them plus a whole host of others. They're all cage level nuke nin, and they're traveling all over the nations hunting down demon containers. Pausing to watch the boy's face, he added some extra information as well. Apparently Orochimaru used to be one of them as well. Somehow that's not shocking. Naruto took a deep steadying breath before releasing it all at once. Cool, so even some crazy missing nin wanted him, just great. Anything else? Oh, cage level ninja wanting to steal the demon from your guts and kill you isn't a big enough worry? Naruto leaned back, looking up into the color-changing sky as morning came. Remember how I told you things weren't great here? How the council was screwing around with me? Jiraiya nodded. Yeah, but Tsunade's back, so that should be settled soon, right? Naruto shook his head. Nope. Council had already taken everything. Or at least the civilian side did. The ninja council had enough reasonable doubt to let them go through with it. At least that's what they said to me. Standing quickly, Jiraiya had to beat down his immediate reaction of wanting to hunt down the council and beat some answers out of them. There was a reason he knew he wouldn't be good as the Hokage. I'm guessing so as to not seem biased, Tsunade had to recuse herself. At Naruto's nod, the sage was still frowning. What else did they pull? Oh, the usual, denied my promotion, warned I wouldn't get another chance at least for another year. Naruto's eyes narrowed dangerously. You know the normal treatment for the village demon. You aren't a demon. Cuffing the boy on the head, Jiraiya frowned in thought. They're taking advantage of you because your clan is gone. If only you had more members. Su-chan might work, but that's still only 2 and that's only sorta. She's publicly a senju after all, more muttering and ideas, but Naruto raised a hand. There are more Uzumaki here. His master was in his face before he could blink. You found more Uzumaki ? How ? Godlike luck ? Remind me to take you to a casino. Standing up straight, Jiraiya wasn't going to question who it was, remembering the 2 redheads in his apartment. That solves the clan act. Restoration is another deal for later. But that makes you a council member. That also means reparations for wrongdoing against your clan. But you'll need at least 2 other clans to agree. Naruto crossed his arms as he thought it over. That Inuzuka woman seemed nice enough. That's Sume, loyal as they come. I'd believe it. Shikaku might as well, if we present the idea to him from a logical standpoint. Seeing Naruto's raised eyebrow, Jiraiya waved him off. Guy's a genius, has a kid on your little Yamanaka girlfriend's team. She's not my. Oh hush kid, the way she was clinging to you said enough. Jiraiya however had a feeling something drastic was going to have to happen. Sure, the civilian council had some say in economic matters, but it was still a stretch that they received enough ninja support to fully block a promotion. He was missing something. Oh, and that Danzo guy ? Tried to give me a fake book laced with listening seals. There it was. The Warhawk was up to his old games. Threats were in order. Okay kid, we've got some work to do. But we also have to have a talk soon about what we're going to do in the upcoming years. Those Akatsuki nutters are going to keep coming for you and the village isn't enough of a deterrent to keep them away. Seeing Naruto want to protest, the sage held up a hand. We can talk about it later. For now get back into a routine and I'll catch up with you in a few days. Gotta run some things by Suheim. Getting the boy to nod and agree, Jiraiya was off to the tower. He had information to give. Naruto himself turned back towards his apartment, hopping up and through his window. Smiling at the sight of his friends looking so comfy, his eyebrow twitched at his clone, which had been creeping its hands to encircle both girls and was attempting to cop a feel. Do you really think that's smart ? I'm you. What do you think ? I'm not a pervert. Me being me says otherwise. Growling, the real Naruto switched himself with the clone while keeping his hands far away from sensitive areas. Clone giving him the finger, he dispelled it with a thought. He'd figure out why his clones were so defiant one day. His minor shifting however had managed to wake up Ino first, who pulled away slowly while rubbing her eyes. I'm still sleepy. Mornin' Ino Heim. Eyes suddenly wide open, the aforementioned girl looked around to confirm that yes, she was just sleeping on Naruto, but also yes, she was fully clothed. Reducing her panic, the girl wiped her chin of her drool. Gee, good morning Naruto-kun. Sorry about the drool. Don't stress, you were asleep. Staying close to the boy, Ino's surprise began to morph into a teasing look. It's too early for whatever you're cooking. Sure thing Whiskers, I'll just keep this blackmail to myself for a while. Standing slowly and stretching, she decided that sleeping on a couch was not the best for her body. The blonde considered her options for the day as she absently bent over at the waist. She missed Naruto's blush as her stretching did interesting things to her legs and backside. Next to him, Hinata began to stir, pressing herself into him and cluing him into the fact that she was also growing up very well. What is in the water around here ? Inside his mind the QB snorted, and you call your teacher the pervert? I'm not a pervert, fuzzball. Oh really? What are trying to sandwich your arm right now ? Hinata Himes T no. I'm not a pervert, says the pervert. Naruto missed Hinata finally waking and pulling away from him while rubbing her eyes. Still very groggy, the girl latched back onto Naruto's arm. I'm still dreaming. 5 more minutes can't hurt. Naruto began to panic as Ino Heim watched on from the sidelines. Yes, 5 more minutes could hurt. Wake up Hinata Heim. Hearing the others starting to stir as well, he looked pleadingly at Ino for salvation. Gashing as if upon an angel given flesh, his heart sank as the grin on her face grew even more. Don't worry pervert-san, I'm sure they'll understand. This had to be the best wake-up ever, the girl decided. Traitor. No more Ino Heim. He didn't want a beating this early in the morning. B. Grumbling as he finally reached the training grounds, he'd have to remember a panicked Hinata was a hard-hitting Hinata. Sealed sword back on his person and fully clothed, Naruto was actually looking forward to training. The girls he left in his apartment all asked if they could hang out while he was gone, which he had no problem with. Though he was worried just how much of a wreck his place would be by the end of the day. Taking a breath and seeing Sasuke ahead of him, he waved to the half-asleep boy, "Stay up late again, emo boy. I'll murder you one day. Gotta be awake to do that." Not seeing Sakura around, Naruto decided to pass along the teasing. Wiggling his eyebrows he grinned, "Don't see Sakura, you finally give in and give her that date ? Blushing the boy looked away, "It's not like that." Naruto finally came up to the boy and slugged him in the shoulder, sure, but you know. Sasuke sighed, "Actually, can we talk about this, seriously, later ? Immediately caught off guard, Naruto nodded without hesitation, "Sure Sasuke, we can talk." "Thanks, Barker. You're even starting to sound like her." "Like who ? Said Pinkett, jumping into the training ground finally. Both boys looked between her and then each other. "Ya Kenpo for it ? You cheat. Cheaters should do it. You're the one who's predictable, not me. Being surprising all the time isn't really a good thing." Smacking both of the boys and walking away, the only girl of the team groaned loudly, "I swear, I think you're both losing brain cells every day." Beginning to stretch and warm up, Sakura missed both boys fist bump each other. Naruto had his hands behind his head, "Or common Sakura-chan, you love us like a bad rash." Snorting, the blonde ninja unsealed his sword so he could begin working through basic forms shown to him by Kakashi-sensei. Again, not a sword master but someone who had picked up enough through their life to show him something. Beginning exercises while they waited, he noted that after finally removing those weight seals the sword felt even lighter. That was a little terrifying, pretty sure he could throw it like Zabuza had when they first met. So what's the plan? Wait on Kakashi-sensei ? Sasuke himself was performing push-ups as a warm-up, though he was in a handstand and balancing on his fingers. "Yeah, I guess. He's been pretty good about being on time recently." Sakura nodded from where she was stretching on the ground, laying flat on her chest while her legs were spread to either side of her. "At this point, it's almost like he's been on time more than he's ever been late. We probably shouldn't jinx it." Naruto was swinging away, beginning to work up a light sweat. Mind still distracted by not only his family drama, and wasn't that a doozy to think about, but also the council fuckery again. He almost missed the appearance of his sensei's chakra. Shunshin complete, Kakashi was all smiles as he waved at his team, "Yo." Continuing his warm-up, Sasuke greeted their sensei first, "Morning sensei." "Hey Kakashi-sensei." Sakura bent and rolled to her feet out of her latest stretch, "Morning sensei." Seeing his team come to attention, with Naruto resealing his weapon, he got straight to the point. "We won't have a mission today, we're in full intensive training for the next week." That made all of them slightly nervous. Intensive training sensei ? Sakura wanted to run. A focused Kakashi was not a nice Kakashi. "That's right. You've all made it clear that you wish to be the top of the top as quickly as you can for your own reasons. So, I'm going to do my best to help." That he wanted to make sure they didn't end up like his old team was a different matter altogether. So what does that mean, sensei ? I smile at full strength. Kunai were already in his hands. Remember kiddos, full intent to kill. Screaming, all three genin would be pushed very hard for the next several hours. They all came to the consensus that Kakashi-sensei had lost his mind. Half a village away in a top-floor apartment, the Uzumaki girls were getting to know Hinata and Ino and vice versa. Tayuya seemed to get along easily enough with the more outspoken Ino, while the shy types of Hinata and Karen melded together easily. It was however as they were cleaning up the mess from last night that Ino asked probably the most important question of the day. "So, you're going to be staying for a while, yeah ? Karen nodded right away, "Yup. It's not like we have any set place to go in mind, and Naruto-kun seems to really want to help us out. I'd feel bad if we didn't accept." Tayuya wanted to kick the smaller girl, "But we do need to pack up eventually." Can't stay in one place for too long. Orochimaru wouldn't leave them alone. Both of them had used to him still. Ino shrugged, I mean. Now knowing you are all clan members I get wanting to stick together. Plus the leaf is pretty safe. Hinata sighed, council interference notwithstanding. Ah yeah, forgetting about the council. Karen was tying a trash bag closed as she looked over their handiwork. Naruto did suggest blowing them up at one point, didn't he? We can't blow up the council. Giving the civilians a seat at the table has helped Konoha weather so many disasters over the years. Hinata remembered her own training in politics from her father, back when she was meant to be the heir. Yeah well, seems like this council has no love for the Uzumaki. Tayuya grouched as she and Ino brought another bag to be sat next to the front door. Karen did have to nod at that, true. I'm almost worried they'd try to marry us off and breed us like what the lightning ninja wanted to try with us. Tayuya shuddered at that, a real admission that brought forth unpleasant memories. Yeah, that was the worst. Like their ninja need any more of a power boost. Ino was watching them both with wide eyes. They would go so far to obtain Uzumaki blood? Tayuya scoffed as she and Ino walked back into the living room. You betcha. After the fall of Azushio we've all been hunted down like dogs. It goes one of two ways. Either they want to kill us so we can't become a threat, or they want to capture us to breed us and make super ninja. Karen again thought of her mother. They use us and use us until there's nothing left. And then throw us away when we're done. Ino sighed. Konoha's different though. Hinata was the one to step in before either of the foreigners could. Is it though? The village has used and abused Naruto all this time. And when he's finally started to make a name for himself among the populace, they take his achievement away from him. Dropping back onto the couch with a groan, Ino couldn't refute her friend. That's true. But the village is better than a lot of the other major villages. We have more freedom here than, say, Earth or Lightning. Hinata dropped next to her friend. Does that mean anything really? We're not as bad as other villages, but we're still kind of shitty. Tayuya threw them a bone. I mean, it'd still be great to grow up here than anywhere else. I at least don't have to worry about someone tying me up and selling me off to the highest bidder while I'm here. Karen shuddered, or waking up to some pervert breathing on you. Having had a few close calls herself, the younger girl rubbed her arms where goosebumps had grown. Hinata and Ino looked at each other, nodding as a silent conversation was held within the span of a breath. Ino was the one who turned to the others. Well, as long as you're here you're safe. You can hang with myself or Hinata when you want to go out, and you know Whiskers will help you out whenever he's available. Whiskers? It's her name for Naruto-kun. Ah, makes sense. Hey, what's with the whisker marks anyway? Someone cut up his face when he was a kid, or are they weird birthmarks? Tayuya leaned forward with curiosity. They hadn't been told about the Kyuubi, only that they needed to bring back the Uzumaki boy. Something of a birthmark. Hinata knew that wasn't a secret for her to tell, so she kept her answer as easy to accept as possible. She was however slightly put off about the casual mention of torturing children. What about his eyes? Did one have to get replaced? That scar is pretty gnarly. Karen had been interested in it but never had the chance to ask about it. Ino fielded this one. Injury from his first major mission, got hurt and some poison apparently changed it. Bad reaction with his chakra. He says it doesn't hurt at all, but we catch him itching it from time to time. Again, something that involved the Kyuubi that they couldn't answer truthfully. At least Naruto had given sanitized answers before in the past that they could use now. At least until he considered these girls trustworthy enough to learn his secret. The rest of the day held the same sort of vibe for the four. With no missions and no reason to go back to her clan at the moment, Hinata was happy to stay and learn more about the Uzumaki pair. While Hinata noted Karen was much more open with them, Tayuya seemed very guarded and cagey. Obviously both girls had been through a lot in their lives, possible that Tayuya had been through much worse. For Naruto's sake, however, she was willing to be welcoming. Ino was much of the same mind, though she was worried about Naruto himself. She realized pretty quickly that Naruto was latching onto these two very quickly, possibly from an effort to control something of his family that couldn't be taken away. The council had unintentionally created a very dangerous situation. Ino felt a chill fall down her spine as she had a thought. If something happened to one of these girls, just what would Naruto be willing to do? Considering his talents, she didn't want to consider it too hard. Eventually a clone of Naruto came back to the apartment, warning the girls he wouldn't be home so he could help out his teammate Sasuke. This was fine with Karen and Tayuya as they were perfectly okay with being independent. Ino however pulled Hinata aside while telling the clone not to dispel just yet. What's wrong Ino-chan? Walking away from the other girls who were chatting with the clone, Ino was frowning as she pulled Hinata down the hall towards the front door. Coming to a stop, Ino looked Hinata dead in the eye. Listen. I can't stay, but is there any chance you can ? Hinata nodded slowly. If I sent word to Kurenai-sensei I would be fine. We do have a team meeting in the morning. Ino nodded. I can't stay, I need to get back home. Looking over her shoulder to make sure the girls were distracted, the blonde turned back to the Hyuga. I don't think we should leave them alone. Like at all. Seeing Hinata's questioning look, Ino continued. The council has been rat-fucking Naruto as much as they can for years. And now we learn that apparently Uzumaki women are very much in high demand outside the village. Wanna take a guess what they might do if they learn that 2 Uzumaki women are here in the village unprotected? Do you really think they would go so far? It's Naruto. They interfered with a Chunin promotion and stole his inheritance. Hinata was thoughtful for a moment before nodding. Sure, I can stay till tomorrow morning. Maybe we can work out a rotation until we figure something more permanent out. Ino nodded. Sounds good. Turning back to Naruto's clone, she jogged over and grabbed it, careful not to exert enough pressure to break its shell. Hey, can you pass a message back to your creator? Ah, sure thing, beautiful. What's up? Blushing, Ino had to remember Naruto's clone were much more liberal than he was. Tell him to make sure Karen-chan and Tayuya-san always have a clone or 2 here with them. Just in case. Oh, yeah, that's not a worry. But he'll know you were worried about them, Ino-heim. Anything else? Wondering what he meant about it not being a worry, Ino just nodded and accepted it. Sure, that's all. Then I'm out. Peace. Dispelling in a cloud of smoke, Ino sighed at the clone's antics. Should we be concerned? Karen was watching them with an unreadable expression. Hinata shook her head. No. We just want to take your worry into consideration is all. Nothing crazy. That she knew just as much as Ino how power-hungry their village council was went without saying. She'd go along with helping these girls for Naruto's sake. Naruto wondered briefly how his life had come to this. When teams were made he was sure he would never get along with Sasuke. Never mind actually consider him something of a brother. But here they were, walking through the abandoned Uchiha district while Sasuke talked about his long-gone family. It was a different feeling to hear him speak about them. His parents, his older brother before he apparently went off the deep end. His various cousins and extended family. They were all Uchiha after all. Everyone that had lived here had been family to him at least a small amount. Coming up to the boys' home, Naruto gave a respectful bow before crossing the threshold and following Sasuke inside. Sasuke however just sighed. Before I gained any respect for you, I just considered you a troublemaker and a burden. Naruto nodded. Well, back then I wasn't much else. Plus I figured you were a complete prick and a bastard. My parents were married, thank you very much. Oh. So just a smart ass then. Both boys laughing, Sasuke led Naruto to the back porch where the view included a small lake and a training field. Sitting and motioning for Naruto to do the same. Sasuke was deep in thought for a while. Now however, I respect you. You're my teammate. Someone who has fought and bled with me. Someone who has promised to help me get my revenge against my brother. Hell, you even tried, going after Itachi with no hesitation once you learned who he was. Turning to look at the blue and purple-eyed boy, Sasuke bowed his head. Thanks. For being a better brother than Itachi. Naruto chuckled. Well, thanks for accepting me for me, it's not like you had to after all. They sat in silence for a while. Just enjoying the view and ignoring their sore muscles and minor injuries. Kakashi-sensei had pushed them all very hard today and neither wanted to move once they had sat down. Leaning against a post for the roof, Naruto groaned. You said you wanted to talk about something serious. Was talking about your family ? Sasuke shook his head in the negative. leaning back himself and resting against a different support. No. Naruto had both Hinata and Ino sniffing after him. He had to have a better idea of dealing with girls than he himself did. Biting the kunai as it were, Sasuke just blurted it out. What should I do? On a date? Entire mental train derailing and falling into a ball of fire, Naruto had to take a moment to process that. Sasuke was asking him for dating advice? Did he give off the impression he was dating anyone right now? What do you mean? Sasuke sighed. I know we joke, but rebuilding my clan is on my list of things to do. Sakura-san is a major supporter of mine. Plus now that she's actually training and showing herself to be an actual decent person. What with her not ignoring you all the time in favor of fawning all over me. So I want to give it a shot. And I figure, you're always on dates with Ino-san and Hinata-san. You should have some idea of what to do, right? Wanting to deny all of it and tell his friend that no, he did not go on dates with his friends. He could see that this was in fact really bothering Sasuke. Sasuke deserved for Naruto to take this seriously. While Naruto didn't consider training, fighting, or lunches as dates, there was the fact that they were ninja. Kakashi-sensei had mentioned that they were a more physical people at least once or twice. They learned more from exchanging fists than any civilian could while talking. Shrugging, he decided he could wing it. Well, I guess the first thing is to not get weird about it. Weird? Yeah, don't think so hard about it being a date. Start small. Go to lunch with her, ask her stuff about her family. What she grew up like, things she's done outside of ninja life. Just treat her like a really good friend you want to know more about. In return, answer her questions honestly, don't hold so much in. Naruto shrugged. Finally, my go-to when talking doesn't get a point across is to go train and let em beat the snot out of me. Yeah, I think you've got some kinks to work out there, buddy. Says you. Training gets a lot done. Still say you're broken. Oh, there's no argument there, trust me. Chuckling, Sasuke looked at the calm lake waters. Do you think you might let Hinata-san or Ino-san in that much? No, you're not that dense, Naruto. So would you follow through with your own plans to rebuild the Uzumaki? Naruto had to sit in silence for a while as he really considered that one. His new fear was that even if he somehow got that far with any of the women in his life, somehow the council would come in and ruin all of it. He was unsure of his life as long as they were alive. But if something happened to any of them? He knew exactly what he would do. I'm sure Hinata Heim or Ino Heim would be thrilled. I'm worried about what the council would do. If they try anything, you have the full support of the Uchiha. That's a promise. Naruto did really appreciate that. That's great, but reality is we're both heads to clans that are broken and scattered. The council doesn't give a shit about us except to use us. Sasuke nodded, but then paused as the way Naruto said that hit him. What do you mean scattered? How do you know you're not the last Uzumaki? He hadn't meant to bring that up. Sasuke was supposed to be the focus here, not him. Yeah, no big deal, but I've run into a couple of Uzumaki recently. Don't worry, I confirmed that they are in fact Uzumaki clan members. But yeah, I have family in the village right now. Sasuke's eyes went wide. Of course you wouldn't bring that up sooner. I thought we were done with secrets. I didn't mean to keep quiet about it. But you wanted to talk and I wanted to focus on you and Dobe. Hey, shut it. This is actual clan relations, they're family. That's important. Yes, I want to talk about dating Sakura, but we can do both, you know. Chuckling, Naruto rubbed his neck, noted. Huffing, the dark boy knew this would be a constant thing with Naruto, his mind was already bending towards this new information. How many? 2 girls. You're a clan head then, as long as neither of them contest it. Thinking quickly now, he himself was building an idea in his head. That means you're eligible for a seat at the council. And that also means protections too. Protections? Yeah. An attack against you means a response from your clan allies and the village itself. That also means everything that's been stolen from you that can't be returned must be reimbursed by the clans or the village. It also means if we don't have a mission tomorrow, you and me might be making a trip to the Hokage Tower. Naruto raised a hand to interrupt the boy. Actually, Pervy Sage is working on something already. Of course someone else knows. Do I wanna know the story involving that question mark? It's Pervy Sage being pervy. So the usual. Back to silence for a moment, both boys just appreciated the time for a while. Sun beginning to set and travel towards the horizon, Naruto couldn't keep quiet. You know, once you and Sakura start dating, think she'll finally chill out a bit question mark. Doubt it, we've been riling her up for too long. She'll probably beat us within an inch of our lives when she figures that out. Just you. I plan on tripping you and running away. Do that and I'm sending Hinata Heim and Ino Heim after you. Oh, a real threat for once, I'm impressed. Both boys chuckling again, they eventually returned to silence and just watching the sky and the clouds. That they had given themselves this time to relax and bond was good. Next time they'd have to include Sakura. Bet your kids are all gonna be dark-haired with loud mouths and monstrous strength. Yours will probably all be pranksters with QB-sized appetites. As long as they don't get the broody gene, I'm good. I don't brood that much anymore. At least you're self-aware enough to know you brood. I'm gonna toss you in the lake. You can try. I'll smack you around from here to snow. You and what army? Sasuke watched Naruto's eyebrow raise comically. Yeah, that sounded stupid the second it left my mouth. Groaning, the last possibly sane member of the Uchiha clan rolled to his feet. Common, I'll cook and we can crash. Oh, food and sleep sound so good right now. Also, one word of this to Sakura and I'll tell Hinata-san and Ino-san the truth as well. You think I'm dumb question mark bro code man, bro code. Laughing, both boys set about making dinner together and eventually passing out for the night. It was good they decided that they could have this time. Maybe together they could change things in this village in the future. Time would tell. Across the village as the night wore on, a quiet Tayuya and Karen were meeting on a secluded rooftop with another member of the Sound Four. Saken had his arms crossed as he tapped his foot impatiently. What's taking so long? You've made contact with him, haven't you question mark? Tayuya frowned. Yeah, even staying with the squirt now. What's the problem? I thought we had time. Saken shrugged. Things change. If you can't convince him to come on his own, at least get knocked up and come back. That should be easy enough for you too. Karen grit her teeth. We were suppo. Saken glared at the younger girl. Do not speak up. You're barely above an insect as it is. Turning back to Tayuya, Saken held up 4 fingers. 4 days. If you can't complete your mission in 4 days, we're coming back to try it our way. Got it question mark. Whatever you say shithead, we got this. Nodding, Saken started jumping away along their secret route to avoid patrols. Left behind, Tayuya was visibly shaking as Karen looked at her with worry. We shouldn't do this. Shut up. We don't have a choice. We could stay. Don't start that again. We can't stay. This village will treat us just as bad. Tayuya was already turning away and preparing to jump back towards Naruto's apartment where they had left the Hyuga girl. Not in the village, but with Naruto-kun. Naruto-kun won't betray us. You know it just as much as I do. Whiskers is a stupid dreamer, just like you. Karen pulled forward to stand in front of Tayuya, arms spread wide and blocking her off. Listen to yourself. You're even using that nickname for him too. Karen sighed, still unsure of just how loyal Tayuya was. With plans changing so quickly, she was willing to risk herself. I want to stay, dreamer or not, you know he'd protect us. Tayuya looked away with a frown. He'd try. Sighing heavily and closing her eyes, but eventually turned to look at the younger girl. You know what'll happen to us. To him. The second this village learns about us, we'll turn into their prisoners instead of Oto's. Are you ready for that question mark? What if we convince him to leave too question mark? That goody question mark, no way. I'm serious. So am I. Both girls stared each other down for a long while. Karen had no loyalty or love for Oto. First Kusa had used and been responsible for her mother's death, then used her and thrown her away. Now Orochimaru was looking to do the same. No, she was done with the villages for a long while. Tayuya, however, knew she wasn't loyal at all, but scared. She had been a prisoner, had to fight for her place in the Sound Four, and even then she wasn't close to the strongest at all. She had skill, sure, but if they wanted to, the things any of the others could do to her made her shiver. Never mind now, knowing they were fine with her just being a seedbed for Naruto's kids told her exactly what they really thought about her. Given a better option and assurance that she'd be safe, she'd leave Oto as well. We have 4 days. Karen nodded. We can figure something out in 4 days. Maybe a way to buy some time too. Tayuya frowned as she accepted the deal all the same. Hopefully this doesn't get us killed. I'd rather die than go back to Oto. Suit yourself, I want to live personally. That one point they couldn't agree on, both girls jumped away to take a roundabout route towards the apartment. Tucked away out of view, Hinata with her Byakugan active side and let the bloodline technique fade away. So that's what was up with the girls. Lip reading being one of the first skills she had picked up, Hinata thought things over as she left and took the more direct route to Naruto's, not having to worry about Anbu patrols herself. She'd first have to talk with Naruto, but a plan was forming in her mind. This was something that had a time limit after all. Naruto wasn't just a self-proclaimed stamina freak. His sensei had said it, his teammates had said it, even Jiraiya had said it. Today, however, he was being pushed harder than he'd ever been in his life. Why? Because Kakashi was a. You're slowing down, Naruto. Yelping and blocking a kunai with Kubikiri Boko, the boy had to complete the spin and unleash a blast of wind from its broadside in order to blast Sakura away from him. This, however, left him open to Sasuke, who was amping up a phoenix fire not far from him. Hastily created clone hurling him away, said clone was happy to activate several seals and explode to give him more cover even as it was engulfed in fire. Kakashi was there, however, and forcing the boy to block and parry his sensei's twin kunai use with his sword. Sure, he had the weight and reach advantage, but Kakashi had literal decades of experience on him. Being pushed and sweating copiously, the boy groaned internally that he couldn't just clone spam his way out of this. Damn Kakashi and his rules. Common Dobe. You're supposed to be the strong one, right? Sasuke and Sakura were arching forward, flanking him from both sides while Kakashi backed away. Hurling his sword with all his might at his sensei, he freed up his hands for quick seals before pressing his hand to the ground. Kuchio's no jutsu. Finding himself atop a 7-foot-tall toad with black markings, Naruto grinned. Need some wind, buddy? On it, Naruto. Voice wheezy and high, the toad's stomach expanded before he slapped it to release the wind blast. Both Sasuke and Sakura were caught in it, sent tumbling and rolling while Naruto re-summoned his blade to his hand. Toad and boy jumping away from their position as hard as they could, they just missed Kakashi erupting from the ground. Nice try, sensei. Seeing his sensei wave and then puff from existence, Naruto sighed as he felt someone grab the back of his jacket. You got overconfident, Naruto. Allow me to correct that. Kakashi was able to get 3 jabs into the boy's lower back before his toad assistant was able to kick him away. Naruto still ended up rolling on the ground from the force of it. Groaning but welling up his chakra, he had to fight not to pull from the Kyuubi's chakra. Again cursing Kakashi's rules, Naruto spun with Kubikiri Boko like a bat. Wind being picked up, he released his technique. Futon, Daytopper. The gale force winds sent all of his opposing members of Team 7 flying, the training ground itself also taking substantial damage. Looking to follow it up, he hurled his sword edge first at where his team would land. Making 2 clones and holding onto them, he vanished when the sword collided with Kakashi's hastily put up guard. All of his teammates being surprised by 3 Narutos appearing before them, Sasuke and Sakura were caught too far off guard in order to stop themselves from being captured. Exploding seals glowing but not taking the next step. The Naruto holding Kakashi had spun around to his back and was holding a Rasengan to his spine, a grin on his face. Got ya, Kakashi. You sure about that? ? Why was that voice behind him ? 1,000 years of death. You pervert. Screaming and being launched into the air, Naruto once more wished death on his teacher. Landing in a heap, he almost missed Kakashi, clapping and calling an end to their training. You've all done so well to improve today. Sasuke, Sakura, your teamwork is phenomenal and you're beginning to cover each other's holes very well. Sasuke, your Phoenix Fire earlier still doesn't spread enough, work on that. Sakura, there's a possibility we should add Genjutsu to your abilities. You had many instances that even a minor one would have helped you so much. Hi sensei. Yeah, I hear ya. Turning to Naruto, who had retrieved his sword and rejoined them, Kakashi was still grinning. You're making great strides yourself. If you didn't have the restriction from clones or QB chakra, I doubt alone we could stop you. However, that's just raw power. This is meant to improve your technique and efficiency after all. You excel at thinking on the fly and making quick plans, but perhaps try to remember you can't always overpower your opponents. Got ya, sensei. The point was to get better at what he had now, so that clone spamming would equal out to better, more efficient clones. He understood it, but didn't like it. Kakashi waved them all off. It's a little after noon, so we can call it here for today. Go get some rest, reflect, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Waving the Jonin was gone in a swirl of leaves. Sealing his sword away with a sigh, he turned to his summon. Thanks a lot, Kazaha. No sweat, Naruto. The giant toad waving and returning to Toad Mountain. That left Team 7 alone on the field. Though Naruto was already turning to trudge back to the village. He was tired, sore, and ready for a nap. Sakura was of the same mind, turning to walk back to the village and maybe grab a bite to eat somewhere. Hey Sakura. Pausing and turning back to Sasuke, who had called her name, the pinkett tilted her head. What's up, Sasuke? She missed Naruto turning back to grin at Sasuke from behind her. Sasuke himself wanted to glare at the blonde, but he couldn't distract himself right now. Wanna go get lunch? My treat? Sakura's world froze. Did Sasuke just ask her out? Sasuke Uchiha just asked her out on a date? Was this real? Did it finally happen? Did he recognize her womanly charms at last? Inner Sakura cheered loudly. Let's get to it, sister. Yeah. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Trying not to dance and celebrate, she waited for Sasuke to pull up beside her before they walked back to the village together. Naruto, however, had already shunshined away, happy to have seen more than enough for today. So the asshole decided to move forward. Good. He'd get all the details later. Hopefully before they all teamed up on him again. Chuckling from the random rooftop he found himself on, he started to jump his way back home. None of his house clones had dispelled to report anything, so at least he was sure the girls were okay and the house was in one piece. Thoughts wandering as his mental fatigue began to catch up with him, he alighted upon his balcony and used a key to open his sliding door. Hello. Actually having to greet anyone at home was still taking some getting used to. In the kitchen, Karen was fussing around with the stove. Naruto, welcome back. She was attempting to make lunch, which was having mixed results. It'd be edible, mostly, maybe. Tayuya was working out on the floor, trying to keep in shape as they were stuck in the house for the next few days. Still somewhat nervous about walking around the village unless they had a clear goal in mind. Yo, Whiskers. You look like shit. Naruto nodded as he collapsed on the couch. I feel like shit. Kakashi is trying to kill us. Body worn out, he figured a nap first might be better. Leaning out of the kitchen to see the boy, Karen waved a large spoon at him. You should go shower at least. I'm making lunch as well. She was attempting to make ramen from scratch, though she was beginning to think that was a bad idea. Groaning, Naruto waved a hand above him. I know I should. I'll get up in a moment. Tayuya rolled over to lay on her front, beginning a set of push-ups. Didn't know you could be such a mother hen, Karen. I'm adjusting is all. Focusing on her self-appointed work, Karen thought about their time limit and her own plans. Naruto, do you need help? Naruto eventually rolled to his feet from the couch. No, I'm just being lazy. I'll take a shower and get cleaned up. Tayuya just smirked. Well, feel free to forget a shirt again, the view is nice. Tayuya. Karen still wished her friend wouldn't be so vulgar. I'm not a housewife, get over it. Shaking his head, Naruto unsealed a change of clothes and headed for the shower in hopes that getting cleaned up would also refresh him a bit. Outside of the bathroom and back in the living room, Karen was glaring at Tayuya. We're supposed to be nice. Voice just barely above a harsh whisper. She didn't want to alert Naruto to their conversation. Tayuya popped up to her feet, shrugging at the younger Uzumaki. This is my niece. Would you like to see mean? No. Then don't complain. Both of them descending into silence. It was Tayuya who sighed and walked over to lean on the kitchen counter. I'm trying, alright? Niece is hard. Karen nodded. I get it. I do. Oto wasn't the nicest and I was only there for barely 2 months. I can't, whatever you went through. Whatever I went through we don't have to talk about, ever. Voice dangerously low, Tayuya was looking back out of the window. She did not want to think about some of the things she experienced. You know, that's starting to smell burnt. Karen groaned and turned off the burner, leaning back against the fridge. It is. I was really trying this time. Maybe you're like me, lackluster housewife material. Or maybe you could put a little more effort into this. Making a show of looking herself up and down, Tayuya shrugged, short of walking around naked. Don't know how much more I could be doing. Blushing, the younger redhead pointed at the more outgoing girl. That's not what I meant. We're trying to get to know Naruto and maybe convince him to let us stay forever. Not that. Tayuya shrugged. He's a man. Men like boobs. Shouldn't be that hard. Men also have feelings, and his have been trampled on more than once. We should be working on understanding him. Tayuya was now leaning her cheek on a hand with a bored look. I say a good roll in the sack would fix him right up. And it'll make him wanna keep us here. Grinning, the girl leered at Karen. Common, what guy on the planet doesn't wanna shack up with two girls at once? Blush now full strength, Karen turned away to clean up her mess. You're a pervert. At least her creation didn't smell horrible as she chucked it all into the trash. She'd have to go buy food soon, however. I just know what guys want, that's all. Getting distracted from her thoughts, she focused on a red and green blur that was hurtling towards the balcony. Ah, was that a person? Looking up from where she was cleaning dishes, she followed Tayuya's gaze to the balcony window. Why was a person flying towards Naruto's apartment? Catching himself and making an artful landing, Jiraiya was all grins as he laughed loudly to the stunned looks of Karen and Tayuya. It might have been more impressive if there wasn't an imprint of a fist on his face. Good afternoon, ladies. Have you seen my godson? Blinking and trying to rationalize that this was in fact a legendary ninja, Karen pointed down the hall when Tayuya failed to speak up. In the shower. Walking in and settling on the couch, Jiraiya looked the girls over. Good, I need to have a word with all of you anyway. Looking the girls over, he considered for a moment if this was the right thing to do. Sure, the village needed the Uzumaki probably just as much as they needed the Uchiha, but they were kids. Mentally giving up as it wasn't his decision, he held up a hand as he heard footsteps returning. Hey, Naruto. Naruto himself was clean and dressed completely this time as he walked back out into the living room. Only slightly surprised to see his godfather, he rolled over the back of the smaller couch and scrubbed his towel through his hair. What's up, pervy sage? You know, a little respect would be nice, since we're working so hard to fix what the council broke. Naruto sighed. Hi, you're the wonderful Jiraiya, the toad sage known the world over as a super pervert. Damn straight. Moving his hands to his knees, the elder waved the girls to come around so he could see them all at once. Tayuya and Karen both walked around to lean over the back of the couch Naruto was sitting on, and Jiraiya got to explaining things. So here's the deal. There's a lot of political fuckery going on behind the scenes here. Tsunade is still a new and fresh cage and is solidifying her power base, so she can't publicly help you, at all. Yeah, I got the gist of that already. Jiraiya snapped a finger. However, now that there are three of you here, that gives you a good option. Since Naruto is a leaf nin, you can claim clan head. From there you present these two as members of your clan, along with evidence that your clan has been wronged by the council. We don't bring up the promotion. That's not the big one. Instead we bring up the Uzumaki records and scrolls. That information is quite literally invaluable. As a clan head, you can make the case that the council being able to unilaterally take a clan's possessions means any clan could have the same conditions put on them. No one would normally support that. Naruto had to pause Jiraiya here, but they did already. What'll change just because I have a few new members now? I'm getting to that, brat. See, now that you have more members that are especially young women, you can make the case that you'll be restoring your clan. The Clan Restoration Act is a big deal. You might even get a few of the older clans trying to attach some of their own members to yours for future political pull. You have been talking to both the Hyuga and Yamanaka after all. Wiggling his eyebrows for a moment and getting groans from the boy, the man got serious. There is the matter as well, clan-specific sites around the village that only the Uzumaki can open. That perked the Uzumaki's interest. What do you mean? One thought everything of the Uzumaki was destroyed. Naruto sure hadn't been told about any places like that. Almost, but there are two that'll be of interest. One to just you, the other to everyone. The first is your parents' home, protected by seals and untouched since the deaths. Only you can open that one. Then there is the Uzumaki temple. The blood seal on its grounds has weakened, and I'm sure it'll weaken enough for people to get in without your assistance within a few years, but for now only one of Uzumaki blood can enter. Its contents would literally be immeasurable in worth to the village. Naruto however leaned back with a sigh, earning a worried look from Karen. Once again, it comes down to the village wanting to use us. Jiraiya nodded solemnly, not wanting to bring up this next part but feeling like he should. Yes, but you'll be getting yours in the end here. The council will have to bow to any demand you make from here on. As a clan head, not only can you demand reparations and protections under the Restoration Act, but you also have the ability to pack up and leave legally, or even involve the daimyo. That last wouldn't be allowed to happen, even Jiraiya knew that. Legal it was sure, but Naruto was a Jinchuriki. Konoha would never let him go, and potential pure-blood Uzumaki children ? Yeah, Naruto's life would be pretty much set in stone once he presented himself before the council. Jiraiya knew that, but also considered it might be for the best to protect the boy. Never mind that the daimyo had already been in the know about the distribution of Uzumaki assets, which stunk of a cover-up of the highest order. Jiraiya was almost ready to start burning clan compounds to the ground over this. Naruto however was figuring that out for himself and was coming up to a dark conclusion. Yeah, he could get some petty revenge on the council if he claimed clan head, but that'd be it. It'd be petty. The village would still gain access to more Uzumaki secrets, he'd still lose out on everything they had stolen in the past, and he'd still be worried about what the future could hold for his children if he had any. Add in potentially the Hyuga or Danzo getting a hand in his business ? Maybe Kyuki's offer wouldn't be so bad after all. I'll think on it. Jiraiya stood and nodded. Take your time, we've got plenty of it now. Tsunade needs to build up her base and you need to get acquainted with your clan mates. I'll keep in touch. It would help the village and future decisions if the kid did decide to relieve his stress with the girls and get one pregnant. The elder ninja just hoped he wasn't making another mistake concerning his godson here. He really did want the best for him, and Konoha was the safest place for him. Waving them all off, the sage was out the door and hopping back the way he came. Naruto however had a different thought entirely once he was sure Jiraiya was gone. I'm gonna need to go for a walk. Standing, he was headed for his front door and leaving Karen and Tayuya behind. Tayuya however was the first to pounce on the chance. Maybe we could go with you. You look like ya need to vent. Naruto shook his head. Not right now. I need to be alone for a bit. Foregoing his jacket, he felt a tingle against his chakra. Frowning, he opened the door to see Hinata standing there with a hand raised to knock on the door. Hey Hinata. What timing? Hinata smiled softly however. Hi Naruto. Did I come at a bad time ? She wanted to talk to him about what she had seen last night. But something seemed to be bothering him. Yeah, I need some time on my own. You're welcome to hang out with the girls though. Looking back towards Karen and Tayuya, Tayuya waved off. I'm gonna take a nap, it's nice and warm in that room. Karen actually stepped forward. If you don't mind, I actually need to go back to the market and pick something up for dinner. Hinata looked to Naruto. I could accompany her, if you're busy. Appreciating the help, Naruto fished out his wallet and pulled some rather large Ryo notes and handed them to Karen. I'll be home around dark, I just need to think. Nodding to everyone, Naruto trudged out the door and down the stairs. Hinata watched him go before turning to Karen. Is everything okay ? Karen watched Naruto go as well before shaking his head. I don't think so. We can talk while we shop I guess. Tayuya waved them all away. Yeah sure, leave me all alone here why don't you? A teasing grin on her face, Karen noticed she didn't mean it. Bring me back something sweet. Like dango. Karen and Hinata started down the stairs as well after agreeing to do so. Closing the door and making their way the girls were quiet for a short while. Making it to the street and greeting the lowering sun, it was still a bright afternoon. Hinata however figured if she had the other girl alone, this would be a good time to get some answers. Before she jumped to conclusions. Directing him instead on a more roundabout route, she wondered at how she would word her questions. Karen hadn't been in the Leaf Village long, but even she knew Hinata was not taking her near the market district. Ignoring her gut instinct that this was not okay, she was trying to trust someone that was close to Naruto. It was difficult, however. Hinata, where are we going? At least her senses told her no one was nearby. Hinata sighed, stopping at the entrance of an alleyway and turning to the girl fully with her Byakugan active. Checking and confirming no one was near them, she released it and asked her most important question to her. If you had the option to leave the village with Naruto, you would, correct? Karen froze for a moment. Did the Hyuga know they were spies? Should she run for it? Were there other ninja just out of her range waiting to grab her? I'm not turning you into the Hokage. This is a personal question from me. We want to stay with Naruto. If we have to leave the village to do so, we will. She'd make the decision for Tayuya as well. The older girl may have more experience but still trusted the more bookish girl with decisions like this. Hinata nodded, seeing no lie in the other girl's eyes. I know you were sent here. Seeing panic on Karen's face, Hinata raised a hand to try and calm her. Like I said, this is just me. No one else knows. I've been thinking about leaving myself. Why? You're the heir to probably the most prestigious clan in Konoha. Why would you leave them behind? Was apart. I'm just useless baggage now. My father has already made it clear the only use I still have for the clan is to wed Naruto and join the clans through marriage. Hyuga eyes with Uzumaki vitality. It would set the Hyuga clan for generations as the top clan, possibly in the nations. Never mind that with the Uzumaki rebuilding with their support, they'd have said clan under their thumb. Her father hadn't told her everything to her face, but between her research of the Uzumaki and what few tidbits she'd gotten about the council and Naruto's telling of what had happened, she knew where things would lead. Karen, however, was frowning. Were you using Naruto as well? Was there anyone in this village who actually cared for him? Hinata turned cold eyes to the other girl. Don't mistake, I have believed in and supported Naruto for years. I love him. I would burn this village to the ground for him. Don't think you know us so well, Karen. Shivering and wishing she never received that look again, Karen nodded. Sorry. Everyone seems to be using the Uzumaki or Naruto with a smile on their face. It's all so bleak. Hinata leaned back against the building wall. I don't know if Naruto told you about one of his last missions. He has a possible place to hide out, maybe two if pushed. I'm thinking of suggesting he does so. But I don't know if he'll leave. Maybe he just needs a push? Like two girls that love him suggesting it? Karen had not been around long, but even she could tell Hinata and Ino actually liked the boy, loved him really, much more than they let on. Ino she might not know well, but Hinata she could tell would in fact drop everything for the boy. It's possible. I haven't dared bring this up with Ino, but something big is coming. Even my father seems more urgent lately. Looking at the other girl, Hinata nodded. I don't judge you that you're from Oto. I can understand you just want to live a better life. If you're really just looking to have a life away from being used, I'll support you. Maybe together we can change our fate. Karen smiled lightly. I don't have to convince Tayuya much. All she cares about is getting far away from Oto at all cost if that is what we're going to do. Turning and beginning to walk back towards the market, Hinata nodded. We'll have to work on Ino. I'm not too sure she'd leave without something drastic happening. Karen pulled up to walk beside the other quiet girl. Who else do you believe Naruto might be worried about leaving behind? His team, the ramen stand owners. Maybe our teacher from the academy. Then maybe we can plan? One want you to understand, I can't say I love Naruto, we haven't known him that long. But we do value more than anything the opportunity to build a family, a clan again. We just want our own peace. I can understand. I just want to control my own life. Maybe we can get that. Both girls watching each other and eventually smiling, they began planning as they set about the market and planning dinner. Half a village away, however, was Naruto walking towards the training grounds. Unsealing his sword, he imagined this was probably his most useful therapy at the moment. However, before he could even start on his training, he encountered Team 10. Ino saw him and bounded over, grinning and slugging him in the shoulder. "Hey, Whiskers, getting some evening work in question mark?" Nodding, the boy couldn't help but smile. "Yeah. Need some time to think, really." Seeing the uncertain look on his face, Ino turned back to her team. "Hey, I'm gonna stay behind. I'll catch ya tomorrow for our training, yeah, question mark." Asuma shrugged as the boys were already mentally miles away at the barbecue restaurant. "Sure thing, see ya tomorrow. No funny business, yeah, question mark." Older man grinning as Ino chucked a senbon at him that missed. The group walked away while Ino joined her crush in returning to the training grounds. "So, what's up, really? You don't look good." Naruto had wanted to be on his own for a while. But this was probably one of the few people who could understand. He decided to voice some of his worries. Short version question mark. "The council is gearing up to screw me over again and I'm tired of it. Jiraiya is trying to convince me to remain peaceful, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Tsunade, but she can't help me anyway. I'm not sure what my next move should be." From there he explained the full situation to her as they walked. He didn't want to include her really, but he had learned that at least some of his peers could be trusted. The adults, well, that was a different matter. Ino had to eventually sit down next to a tree as the boy began a warm-up for training. "That's, holy shit. Yeah, tell me about it." Setting about demolishing the training ground, the Uzumaki was at a loss. None of this involved explosions, which meant he was at a disadvantage. Ino herself, however, thought it over. She knew Hinata was trying to convince her that following after Naruto would be better than staying here. Except Ino herself had never put up with half of the things her other two closest friends had ever put up with. She was pretty much a princess, pampered and never having to really deal with loss or abuse or any of this. Thinking about it all, however, she was beginning to get the clue that Naruto was edging closer to leaving by the day. Even if the council reversed everything and somehow got everything back for his clan, it still wouldn't be enough. Would she follow him? Question mark. Was her love for him that powerful? Question mark. The scary thing for her was that she could almost say yes. And what did that mean? Question mark. You know, now that you know about the temple, why not hunt it down and raid it alone before the village gets the chance to? Question mark. Naruto paused in his training. Why hadn't he thought of that? Question mark. Jiraiya had told him about the temple. He was sure a little searching would allow him to find it. It would be better to empty it out now as opposed to giving the village the opportunity to take everything. Resealing his sword, Naruto turned to the other blonde. "You know, Ino, you're a genius." "Oh, I know, but you can praise me more all the same." "I'll still love it." Chuckling, the boy nodded. "Thank you, Ino, for supporting me." "You got it, Whiskers. So, we doing this now or what?" Question mark. Naruto shook his head. "A set plan in mind. I'll go tonight after dark. For now, let's train a little bit together and then head back to my place. I'm sure Hinata and Karen will pick up food for all of us." Standing and loosening herself up, Ino nodded. "All right, you're on." She'd need to at least start training that much harder if she did plan on staying by his side. A new day, another worn-out Naruto. Team training having taken longer today, Naruto was laying on the ground as Kakashi had already left. Sakura and Sasuke were still trying to motivate themselves to get up and move and currently failing. Needing some cheering up, Naruto raised a hand. "You know, Sasuke. I hear the second date is when they usually start putting out." He never saw the foot that sent him flying. Pervert. Blushing and full of rage, Sakura was up and stomping towards the boy. "You just can't keep your mouth shut, can you?" Sasuke just sighed. "If you're gonna kill him, at least wait until I'm gone, no witnesses and all." Naruto, however, was laughing up a storm as he dodged her next flurry of fists. "Oh, common, it's not like you've been trying to get a date out of him for forever. Let me have this teasing. I'll tease your face, Barker." A punch finally connecting, the clone popped and left her in a cloud of smoke. "Come face your punishment like a man. Maybe next time, you lovebirds." Laughing as he jumped away and left his two friends alone, the boy made good time back towards the village. They really had trained much longer today. The sun was beginning to set. Thinking that dinner out might be a good idea, he got ready to summon some clones in order to go find Karen and Tayuya before he caught a shock of blonde hair much brighter than his own. Ino was out, and was that Hinata and the Uzumakis? Question mark. Curious. Jumping towards them, Naruto raised a hand. "Yo. Ino raised a hand in greeting as well. Hey there, Whiskers. Done with training? The boy falling in line with them. The girls paused as he looked them all over. Nothing out of the ordinary with them. He seemed to shrug and provide an answer after a moment. Yeah, it was a long one today. What's got all of you out today? Hinata actually came to his side, smiling all the way. We were actually coming to find you. Would you like to get dinner? The barbecue place should be able to accommodate all of us. Nodding, Naruto put all thoughts of councils and evil elders out of his mind. Diner with his favorite people and his clan? Hell yeah. Sounds like a perfect night to me. Turning and leading the way, the boy settled in to think on things. He still hadn't come to a decision on what to do. He couldn't accept the council continuing to use them, nor get away with what they had already done. This last week had been a roller coaster and he was ready to get off. Grumbling, the QB decided to speak up. Just leave already, shack up with that snow girl. Twitching only slightly, Naruto answered the ancient demon, but what about Uzushio? Couldn't I spend the time and rebuild it? Why not both? You are supposed to be the greatest container in the nations, or have you forgotten? Rebuild your clan and your village, sire, as many children as statistically possible, you little spaz. You have no limits to what you can accomplish. I didn't forget our deal. Things have just been shitty. Then make them unshitty, you deranged monkey. But stop wasting time. You could blow this entire village to ash and start over. Lay waste to the nations if you felt like it. Why haven't you, truly? Naruto thought about that one while even on autopilot he walked along with the others who were chatting with each other. Why hadn't he gone off the rails already? Shouldn't there be a peaceful option? Peace is for those who cannot obtain what they want with their own hands. That is not a failing you have. If you truly want a peaceful life, peace for your clan and future spawn, you know what you must do. Has anyone ever told you your bedside manner needs some work? Your mother, often. Now go, your mates are looking at you funny. The QB cutting the link, Naruto grumbled about the girls not being his mates. Ino however poked him in his side. Sorry, what did I miss? Nothing much, we ordered but you were spacing out. They had chosen another booth towards the back again, nice and private for what the girls wanted to talk about. Hinata had clued her in about the Oto girls and their motivations. Wanting to get away from the snake seemed to be on everyone's list really. Now the question was, would they stay here? Sorry, just thinking. And he was, about a lot of things. Karen however had seated herself across from him with Tayuya while Hinata and Ino sat on either side of him. Tonight she was going to come clean to him. They didn't have much time after all, and she didn't want him to feel used. Naruto, I have something important to tell you. Oh, what's that? Eyes going wide, the boy couldn't imagine what could be so important the two girls would begin to look so nervous. Karen however first retrieved a scroll. Unsealing it to reveal a sack, she pushed it over the table for him to take. Those are all of the scrolls, books, and research materials I could swipe from Orochimaru and Kabuto before I left the Hidden Sound Village. Next to her, Tayuya looked frantic. Wait, you stole stuff? Why didn't you tell me? I wasn't sure how loyal you were or not, I was scared. Still, you stole from Orochimaru. Fighting hard not to scream, the older girl knew going back was probably completely impossible now. Oh well, that pedophile snake could choke on his own and rot. Now we have to run. Naruto however was looking into the multitudes of scrolls and books and loose papers that were sitting before him. The girls being from Oto? He could deal with that eventually. Reaching into the bag however and pulling free one book that had caught his attention, for it also had a leaf insignia on it as well, he flipped through it casually but quickly. Not saying a word and feeling bad as the girls across from him began to panic, he confirmed his suspicions and closed the book. Putting it back in the sack and sealing it away back into the scroll Karen had handed him. He twirled it around once before handing it back to her. Here. What? Aren't you upset? Mad? Don't you want those? I'm upset but not at you. We're way past mad however. I do, but they're safe with you. Naruto suddenly had a false calm wash over him. He'd deal with his own emotions later, the girls needed assurance now. Look, you didn't have any obligation to tell me about your past, but you did. That took trust and courage. So I'm not mad at you. Tayuya leaned forward then, all or nothing at this point. Then we have to go. You know we can't stay, the snake will come looking for us. Naruto nodded. Why's that question mark? What were you supposed to do here question mark? Karen sighed. We were supposed to convince you to come back. Or failing that, come back with a piece of you, each. Looking down into her lap, she couldn't say it out loud. Tayuya frowned. She means we were supposed to fuck ya and take your kids back with us. We're nothing but baby factories to everyone at this point. Language Tayuya. Suck my. Naruto leaned back into the bench, letting it all wash over him. He knew Orochi would send someone for him eventually. It would have been easier if it had been someone he could blow apart. Using his clan as a shield had been smart, if they were a bit more loyal to him. When are you supposed to go back question mark? It was supposed to be an unlimited time, but they came back and warned us that we only had a few days now. Specifically we have 1 day left. Tayuya was absently rubbing her left shoulder. So to summarize, you and Karen were here originally to take me to Orochi or become pregnant hopefully and go back. But since you know he's a piece of shit, you've been trying to convince me to keep you here or run away with you question mark. Seeing the girls nod, he focused and ordered one of his house clones to dispel. He told them to only dispel on their own if there was violence. Since there hadn't been, they hadn't dispelled. Getting the rush of memories, he nodded that the story matched up with the quiet conversations they had been having together. Okay. Hinata leaned forward now to get his attention. Okay, what Naruto question mark? Taking a deep and steadying breath, Naruto decided it was time to bite the kunai. We're out. I'm gonna get Karen and Tayuya somewhere safe first. Then I'm going to threaten the council, leave them a few surprises, and clean out anything the Uzumaki has left in this village. After that, looking at Hinata and then Ino, the boy sighed, after that, I'm leaving too. I won't be used anymore by a gov that can't at least respect us. Then I'm coming. Hinata voiced her opinion right away with no hesitation. She had already made clear she didn't have much holding her here. Sure, her team was great and they would miss her, but she had dreamed of being at Naruto's side. She was seizing on the chance to make that dream a reality. Ino on the other hand still hadn't been able to come to a conclusion for herself just yet. She wanted to, some part of her truly did. But everything she had ever known was here. Her clan, her friends, her team. Konoha was her home. Could she really give it all up for a boy she had only started to show real interest in within the last half year question mark? Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder, eyes kinder and understanding. You don't have to force yourself, Ino. You know I wouldn't want you to and I wouldn't ask it of you. Everything you have is here. But if you leave then the one thing I want most won't be. She'd made a promise, she would not lose on the field of love. She loved Naruto. That was enough. Karen however was beside herself, so we're doing this question mark, we're sticking together question mark. Naruto nodded as he turned emotional eyes back to his clan. Yup. I have a clan now, and I won't abandon you. He wasn't sure how he would explain this to his team. They had each other now however, and Kakashi-sensei would probably never forgive him. He had to take control of his life though, and now he was taking responsibility for others. Just as he should have been allowed to do as a chunin. Gotta do something first though. Making a clone, it appeared to the side of their table and saluted him, back in a flash boss. Disappearing in a flash, everyone but him at the table was looking at him oddly, even getting a few looks from other patrons before they went back to their meals. What was that question mark? Ino was looking at the space where the clone used to be. That wasn't a shunshin and the clone didn't dispel either. That was me getting a hold of a friend and making plans. Sending a clone via Hiraishin was risky, he wasn't even sure if a clone could complete the journey on its own. This would be a good test either way. Let's eat, then we can plan some more at home. Leaning back as food was delivered, the server reminding the ninja that jutsus were frowned upon inside the space, they all nodded and dug in. Tayuya wanted to eat but still needed a question answered. What about Oto question mark? Naruto grinned. Oh, I've got something for them. You know where they are right question mark. Karen nodded. There's actually several bases, some with loyalists, most with prisoners and slaves, experiments. Naruto nodded. Could we free those question mark? With some work, sure. That opened up a possibility about their lack of manpower. Yes, he wanted to rebuild a zoo, but an empty village wasn't much use. He still needed people. People who might join his cause. Okay, we'll add that to the list of things to do. What? Rebuilding a clan and a destroyed village isn't enough? Tayuya was vibrating in place. This boy really meant it. He was going to go against his village for them. He was that passionate about this. It was insane. I made a deal. I'm going to be the strongest in the elemental nations. That means dreaming big. He'd have to clue them in on the QB soon. One info dump at a time, he figured. Hinata, however, was smiling as she swayed from side to side. She was getting out of this village and away from her father, hopefully for good. That was all the good news she needed. As they progressed through dinner and made small talk, her mood did not change. Even after finishing and paying, she was still somewhat glowing as they began making their way out on the street. Karen nudged her. Hinata? You seem very happy. I am. I've lived through years of abuse from my father. Getting away from him is possibly the highlight of my year right now. Only thing that would top this would be Naruto coming out and saying he had true feelings for her. Naruto, however, was walking with his hands linked behind his head, twitching again as his clone's memories hit him. Sakuyuki was okay and set up a seal in a spare room in her mansion? Good. And apparently there were moves she was going to make as a daimyo as well. Very good. As they rounded a corner and Naruto looked up to his apartment, he mentally ordered his clones to begin sealing up all of their possessions. Feeling the clones agree and start moving, a blur detached from a rooftop facing his apartment and attempted to get in. Why would someone do that? And then there was fire. Apartment going up in a wave of fire and ash. Windows all along the street were blown out and even the group below were nearly knocked off their feet from the shockwave. Naruto, however, was moving, 4 clones bursting into existence. 3 grabbed onto Karen, Tayuya, and Hinata. While the 4th looked at Ino quietly. I'll either knock you out and take you home or you're coming. Which is it? Seeing the other 3 disappear, Ino couldn't believe their shitty luck. Grabbing the real Naruto, who was unsealing his sword, he whipped back to her to say something only to have his mouth closed off. Heat, warmth, passion. Something deeply emotional passed between the two, and then it was gone. Ino nodded with tears in her eyes. I can only regret the things I want to do but don't. I'm coming. Jumping into the other clone's arms, they were gone in a 4th flash. Eyes still wide and unblinking, he had to shake himself to get moving. Ino kissed him. Apparently she liked him like he liked her. Flashy. Jumping away and focusing, he was gone in a long-range shunshin. He could already hear sirens. The fire brigade would be on the way, but also Anbu as well. Most if not all of them knew by now he used explosives exclusively. Which meant his own house exploding wouldn't be too much of a surprise. Which also didn't surprise him, someone would blow his house to bits. It was a great cover. Showed him putting people at risk by experimenting within the village walls outside of a training ground. Someone either wanted him dead, or wanted support for him to fall off. Over the wall and making for the trees, he knew politics weren't his thing, but even he was getting the idea that someone really didn't want him gaining any support or allies. Too bad he had already done that outside of the village. Making good time to where his clones from last night had scouted, he found the ruins of the Uzumaki temple within minutes. Dropping to the ground, he didn't bother waiting and sealed his sword away again now that he wasn't worried about threats. Making his way inside, he paused as a seal activated on the floor, though after a moment of nothing happening, he continued on his way. It didn't take long to find the center of the temple, where he was met with an altar that held a wall of masks. All ornately done and none looking like they had been touched by the ravages of time. Unrolling a long scroll, he began stripping the masks from the altar and sealing them away one by one. The process took a few minutes, which once complete found Naruto eyeing the black-flamed altar. Concentrating and making clones, he gave them simple instructions. Renew any and all seals you find. I don't want anyone from Konoha getting in here. On it, boss. The dozen clones raced away through the temple, and Naruto was left to turn back to leave. Frowning, however, as he somehow missed someone following him. Met with the sad eyes of an older woman he did not recognize, though obviously she was an Uzumaki from her red hair that was tied up in 2 buns, the boy bowed to her. I didn't know the temple had a keeper. The woman bowed to him in return, shaking her head as she stood. I never thought I would see the day this temple would be emptied. To what do we owe the occasion? Naruto sighed, resting on his back leg for the moment. In short, someone in Konoha is willing to go through a lot to see the Uzumaki wiped out and all of our secrets taken. I've just reconnected with 2 clan members and I plan on protecting them with everything I have. So, you've found others to love and protect then? Smiling, the woman walked towards him to shorten the distance between them, seals attached to her hair bun swaying. Yeah, I have people very precious to me I wish to protect. His team would have to understand. Hopefully. What's your name, ma'am? The woman came within arm's reach of him, stopping finally and only having to look down on him only a little. He had been growing recently. I am Mito Uzumaki. Though that's not entirely true. I am a shade of Mito Uzumaki. A portion of myself sealed away to protect this place until the next Uzumaki came along. That seems to be you. He knew that name. She was the first Hokage's wife. That was a trip. Yeah. But I can't stay. I understand. Times change along the ever flow in the river of life after all. You have made shadow clones, correct? Seeing him nod, she waved a hand to her left. Please, make more. I will instruct them on the masks that you have taken. When they have learned what I have to tell, I will go dormant again. Only appearing once more when you return to seal a portion of yourself and bind it to the temple in order to continue our eternal guard. Naruto did as he was asked, making the clones and turning away to leave. Do you think I'm doing the right thing? She had believed in the leaf possibly even more than than any Uzumaki had. Once. Mito's shade only bid him farewell. My place is not to judge, only to guide. As long as you fight with love in your heart, I believe you will find your way. Walking away from him, he noticed finally that she made no sound as she walked. Getting the last hint that she really wasn't here, he did the same. Making one more clone and handing it the scroll, it left in another flash. He himself left the temple and had one last destination in mind. Soon it could say without fail that she was not a happy woman at the moment. Someone had blown Naruto's apartment to bits and now no one could find him. Jiraiya was out and looking along with Anbu, but still no luck, and as she and Shizune made it to the tower, she made for her office to begin making orders. Giving Shizune orders to find Kakashi, soon it was in her office and walking around to her desk within a breath. Danzo was already there, cane tapping on the floor. This is an outrageous occurrence. Do you have some idea of what has happened? The elder council watched her walk around her desk, tapping several seals to summon Anbu to her office. She missed her door locking behind her with a soft blue glow. If I knew I'd be out there, not in here. Looking up, she did not however miss a black-clad blonde leaning against her bookshelf. Naruto ? Hey brat, you've got everyone worried to high hell. What's that explosion about? Danzo as well turned with some surprise to see the boy. Why hadn't he sensed him at all? Putting a book he had been fiddling around with away, Naruto groaned as he pushed away from the shelf and walked towards the woman he had convinced to come back and take the reins as Hokage. Wasn't me. Someone else actually torched my place before I got there. And why would someone want to torch your place? Naruto ? I don't know. Probably should ask the council. Or Danzo. Eyes meeting the older man's, Danzo knew right away something has changed drastically within the last few days. He hadn't gotten any updates from the book he had given the boy, nor considered attaching a root agent to watch him. Folly now that he considered the decisions. Frowning, she didn't like the look on Naruto's face. What do you mean? Maybe she should have listened to the boy. Explosions solved all their problems. Naruto shrugged again. I've been wondering about a lot of things lately. What happened to the Uzumaki? Why everyone seems so hell-bent on using us or our skills and sweeping their misdeeds under the rug. It made no sense that the council would be so against my promotion. I get it now, however. And now I don't care anymore. Unsealing one of his works, he held the meter-long scroll end up on the floor. 6 black bands surrounded the deep crimson scroll, which, once he knew they saw it and were watching, he allowed it to be summoned away to its hiding location. You know how every time I make a new one of those it gets bigger and stronger? Yeah. It's now somewhere in this village. Just a thought from me, and that's it. Tsunade slammed a hand on her desk, shattering it. What would possess you to threaten the leaf, Naruto? That's treason. There's no coming back from this, no matter how angry you are about the council or your blocked promotion. Naruto, however, was watching Danzo, someone who was also not moving. We all know it's not about the promotion, don't we? Danzo sighed before turning fully to the boy. Everything I've done has been for the Leaf Village. For my home. I've been around a long time, boy. I've wiped nations off the map for my village. Your threats mean nothing. Naruto, however, began to grin. I'm gonna take a guess. Azushio was your work then? Getting no answer beyond a slight tense of the man's jaw, the silence was more than enough. Yeah, it would have either been you or the third. You found out Azu had something so important it was worth letting them all die to get it. Looking at the elder, Tsunade herself was beginning to shake. What had she missed while trying to balance all this bullshit recently? She had just started this boy was what got her here. Naruto. Look, there's got to be some mistake. Let's calm down and talk about. Naruto, however, put a finger in his ear and wiggled it, inspecting it for wax after a moment and coming up empty. Yeah, I'd love to, but I'm on a time limit. So here's the deal, I'm gone. You're gonna hear from the daimyo, most likely soon. And then the Uzumaki clan is gonna be making some demands. Grinning, the now obvious to the two elder ninja clone held up a middle finger. I'd say it's been fun, but honestly it's been pretty shit. Dispelling, several explosions ripped through the village. Looking out the window, Tsunade didn't know many of the locations, but one she did know was the old home of Kushina and Minato. Turning back to Danzo, the woman balled a fist as the door to her office burst open, several Anbu piling inside. What have you done? Danzo shook his head, for once truly innocent. Believe me or not, I did nothing. I did not want to alienate the boy any more than he already was. But someone else, most likely very short-sighted, does not agree with me. We must get to the bottom of this quickly. Oh yeah? And why shouldn't I punt you out the door and have you arrested? Because if we don't get to the bottom of this and hopefully show him the results, we may just find out if he was bluffing or not. I will not bear witness to the fall of the leaf. Tsunade turned to everyone standing around. Go put out the fires. I want investigations and reports on my desk ASAP. Move. Watching all of the gathered ninja leave, she was left with Danzo and Shizune. This isn't over at all. But for the village's Sasuke, we have work to do. Inside, Danzo was furious. Whoever had thrown this wrench in his plans was destined for something much worse than death when he was done with them. Yes, we do. Turning and leaving, the elder had his own ninja to give orders to. Someone's head would roll tonight. Several nations away, Naruto was grinning as he was greeted by a tired but happy Kyuki along with his friends. So, I've got an idea for you about your trains. Already? Yup. Naruto's eyes began to glow. How do you feel about digging underground? That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.